Because
I mean,
you either
yeah.
like we kind of celebrate the person who works like 80 hours a week and achieves so much, and not celebrate the person who's actually living a sort of balanced, sort of mellow life, like people who do yoga or hippies and whatnot. We kind of look down on them, right?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, hey, the Escape Road Podcast. Foong, Ron, quick intro.
Let's get into it. So, Double D podcast debrief.
Yeah. Look, the thing I've taken away from
Quick side. Honestly, I don't remember much of it. It was
No.
such a long
it was,
episode.
it
I
was
don't
one
remember a
those
lot of it. Yeah,
really long episodes, eh?
I definitely will have to re-listen to it and
Check
show
it
you
out.
guys.
Like, hey, we need to do an intro of that anyways. So
Yeah.
let's do that afterwards. Yeah. So the easygoingness of the podcast actually, I think, is really good.
Was
Because
it
sometimes-
easy going for you right away?
No, I think it took a little bit.
Mm.
It was really good how Devin asked the questions like, "Hey, I feel like there's a nervous energy happening here." So he
Yeah.
kind of addressed the elephant in the room.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I think that.
he just went straight for it. I'm
Yeah.
like, "Wow, this is good," and I'm like, "Oh wow, cool." He knows that I'm
I
nervous.
think. Yeah, I think that's always a good
yeah,
icebreaker because even if it's not true,
yeah.
doesn't really matter.
Right, but like apart from that, it was a really easygoing podcast. I enjoyed it. I don't think it's one of those podcasts where I can listen like the whole 2 hours. There's definitely like some
I
moments
thought it was like
where
more
there's
than
a
2
lot-
hours. I thought it was
yeah,
like
it was
2.5.
Yeah,
Almost. Yeah.
It was more like after the podcast we kind of recorded a bit more.
Yeah.
But in saying that, like just the fact the many tangents that we went through was just ridiculous.
Yeah. It was
Yeah,
ridiculous. The
ridiculous in a sort of funny, good,
Yeah.
light natured way kind of thing.
it was just surprising how we could, go off on tangents so easily,
Yeah,
and then go on that path for like 10 minutes, and then suddenly take another right turn to some other.
I do
other path.
I do wonder if it's like one of those podcasts where like, hey, there's 4 people. That's probably why there's so many tangents happening in one go.
I think so.
Because we're all trying to understand what's going on in each other's head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's that natural curiosity of
It
wanting
is,
to know what
yeah.
someone's thinking, but I think the fact that there's really no structure or anything in that podcast that we can really deep dive into some thought that we have without thinking, oh, there's only 5 minutes left, we got to wrap this section up, or there's this topic that we want to cover. We just sort of whatever we think about, we just go down that path.
Yeah, I do like how Joe Rogan has like got this long podcast. I wonder how he keeps on track. Like he did mention that he has like a notepad
Yeah.
happening, but it is a 4-hour long podcast. I mean, I guess at this point it's like expected of Joe Rogan, right? Right.
I mean, I think
Right.
some of his longer episodes, they're usually with
Yeah.
either friends
Yeah.
or with somebody who can just really talk.
Yeah.
And like, if it's going to be somebody that can't really talk that well, you're not going to get a 3-4 hour podcast from that.
Sure.
So I think he's just sort of like naturally lets the conversation flow. So when he has like, someone like a Duncan Truss or whatever, I think he had like
God.
4.5 hour.
That guy can talk. Oh my god.
That guy can talk, and I think in a way they both vibe about similar things, so they can just
Mm.
drivel on.
That was quite loud. I read somewhere that Joe Rogan is now the mainstream media. How do you think about that? What do you think about that?
A podcast is now mainstream media.
Mm.
That's
You know what? I kind of feel jealous. Like not envious, but like sort of. I've been wanting to do a podcast well before a lot of these people wanted to do podcasts. So what? It feels like this is kind of my medium now. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm thinking like, what the hell do you know about like podcasting? You just want to get a mic and start speaking. But then again, we started doing that
that's
too.
exactly why we started doing this. Yeah, it is kind of cool in a way that there is potential that we could one day be mainstream as well, mainstream news.
Hey.
But if you think about it, like a lot of the news, like the 24-hour cycle news, people have like a lot of their own shows, the news shows, whereas like the Mike Smith Hour or whatever. They kind of just like they're on the news. They're technically mainstream, but then they just give their thoughts on things. And I think in a way he's, when he talks about mainstream topics, he becomes a voice,
Right.
in that. Yeah.
Speaking of news, you want to cover that the what's called the Black Panther guy? What's his name?
Black Panther, Chadwick Boseman.
Chadwick Boseman.
You know what? Out of respect, I'm gonna make sure I
I'm sorry to laugh at it.
Boseman, but Chadwick
Chadwick
Boseman.
Boseman, yeah.
Yeah, that was out of nowhere.
Oh, I mean, I feel for this guy. Like, I mean, I don't know too much, but one thing I do appreciate is the lack of negativity that came out of his passing. So for a fact that this guy is a legit do-gooder.
Well, the fact that he kept such a big thing from public eyes, he kept it private, and like nobody really knew about his battle with cancer. That in itself is something to be someone that's something admirable. Not saying that if you have cancer not to tell anybody, but more like the fact that he kept it to himself, he kept it professional, he kept it focused so everybody can stay focused. That's it's fucking amazing what he's done.
Very sad passing there.
Yeah. Apparently, like, even like the Marvel guys didn't know. They pretty much just went ahead to and started to do all the planning for.
Yeah,
Black,
I read
Black
somewhere
Panther 2.
that Disney was scrambling to find, the next Black Panther, right? They're looking for the next actor because like they had a whole story going, and for them to not know, that's actually a big thing.
Yeah.
I do wonder if they have like a contract clause in saying something like that in the event that you do pass. Like, what is that? What happens then? Does the contract between you and those kind of company get annulled? All right, let's pause the podcast for a little. Oh my god, stop it, bro!
Sorry. Okay. Let's just
Hey, let's pause the podcast for a little bit. Why are we doing this?
We just want to remind people where they can find us.
Yeah, so you can actually hit that subscribe button, that bell button, so that you can get notified for our new episodes, guys. And also that shows a little support from you guys for the show, to show that you actually do enjoy the content that we provide to you.
And if you do want to let us know how we're going, how you have feedback, you have comments, please hit us up on Instagram, Facebook, perhaps Twitter as well. We're not that active there, but we're on there.
All right, guys, let's get back to the show. Thank you.
But here's the other thing as well. Like, from the reports I read, Chadwick actually did plan on doing Black Panther 2 as his last
that's right.
thing, right? But yeah, it's just his passing just came a bit too early. Yeah. Kind of sucks, man. Kind of sucks.
2020 sucks.
It's been a fucking long year, man.
It has.
Do you know, like, this is August, September now.
Mm-hmm.
The Australian bushfire season last year started around this time. I feel like 3 years ago now. Hey.
That feels like old news. Like
old news. Like, I remember
news.
we had we talked about the bushfires and how close it got to your property, right?
Yeah.
And
that was episode 12.
12, yeah. That was
Mr. Koya. Yeah.
just so long ago. Just so much has happened in 2020. It's crazy. And and it's only just September.
Yeah.
Still 3 months ago. So hopefully, fingers crossed, this is the worst you can get.
Hey, please.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is, I think at least New South Wales has been fairly decent COVID wise.
COVID safe.
Yeah, fairly COVID safe.
Have you thought about testing yourself?
I would if I had symptoms.
Yeah, I think I need to go test myself just because I've been working with not with the public, but like I've been working at Broadway, so probably should.
Also, jiu-jitsu.
Yes.
Yeah. You're breathing in someone's face like that close.
Mm.
You're as close to kissing somebody without kissing someone.
Bro, I've been brushing so many beards across my face.
The beard oils.
Actually, thankfully, these guys don't have beard oil. Anyway, but on a kind of disgusting note, I've been since I started F45, I started when I work out now, I sweat profusely. It was ridiculous the amount of like I'm like waterfall.
Dripping.
Yeah, I'm dripping.
Yeah.
So when I'm rolling with people, like sweat starts going everywhere. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
shit, I'm so sorry, guys, so sorry, kind of thing.
Well, now it's time to start using it to your advantage. Start dripping it into people's eyes and mouths.
Whip it like
Just
this.
ooh, disgusting.
Oh man,
Disgusting.
I want that blue belt. I'm craving for that blue belt right now. I want it.
Well, I'm sure it's on its way. It's on its way.
Come back, bro. I'll show you how much I've changed.
You get all that sweat.
Yes.
I'm fine.
Whip it
thanks,
in
mate.
your face.
I'm fine. Thank you.
Have you? Hey. Do you know much about Mike Tyson?
Yeah.
Have you listened to the pod? Like,
I didn't listen to the latest one.
I'll tell you what.
Was it good?
It's a hard listen.
Really?
I liked him better as someone to listen to in the conversation when he was like his last episode with Rogan. It was like he was more mellow, more coherent. Now he's like a total different person, and like even Joe Rogan addresses it, right? He says like, "You look like a guy that's just on an ego high right now. Like you just want to murder someone."
Yeah. So I guess a little bit context is Mike Tyson is supposed to have a comeback fight, right? So he's in shape, he's focused, and I think he's sort of in that mindset right now.
Have you seen his training video?
Yeah, he's
Fuck.
shredded.
Like 55. What was it? 60, 55 now? Dude.
Tank. He's a tank.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he's a legit scary
he's
again.
still fast as shit, man. Oh my god. Gives me goosebumps just watching how he punches.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it though. Keen to watch it.
Aside from that, I mean, what was the podcast? Any good nuggets from it?
Not yet, no.
No.
There's a lot of just rambling about how good he is. That's why I'm like, wow, this is very different from the Mike Tyson I knew from the other episode sort of thing.
Talk about Rogan. Have you started trying to listen on Spotify yet?
No. Have you?
I gave it a go just to test. I didn't really hear any ads, so
Well, he's getting paid by Spotify.
yeah. But Spotify has to run ads, though, doesn't he? Don't they?
Not if you have a premium
Well,
account.
obviously I don't have premium.
Cheap.
Well, I'm already paying for like
Yeah.
YouTube and stuff, so
Yeah.
can't afford all these ad-free privilege.
Oh, yeah. Well, keep listening. Maybe they haven't switched on the ads yet with Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I don't know. I was a little bit sad that he moved to Spotify.
That the Mike Tyson one, it was the last episode he did free, right? Yeah. Actually, no. There was a point I wanted to talk about the change between the Mike Tyson from the previous episode of Rogan to this episode. I mean, have a listen, and compare the two episodes. There's a stark differences between the two, and one thing I'm actually interested about is that seeing how people are okay with this, the fact that someone has changed so drastically, and still in the public eye and say that it's okay that I've changed. So we have the tendency, right? This is what I'm thinking. Like we have the tendency to think that things are set in stone, right? So when someone changes, it's kind of hard to process, and we tend to reject that change. Don't you think?
Yeah, like if you have a friend that all of a sudden is like into some other kind of music, and then they just change.
Yeah,
They're not the same people they know. Yeah.
For example, it was hard to see because for him, like for me, looking at him, he was like hip hop through and through since they don't.
Yeah.
That could be argued with many different people, but like for me, it's like he's my introduction to hip hop. So for him to go to raves and whatnot, that was kind of like I felt was a bit of a slap in the face.
Why is it a slap in the face?
Because I still categorize hip hop as like one of the greatest genre of music around. But point is, he can do whatever he wants. But like point is, like the tendency of setting things in stone, I think is not a very very good one.
As in setting your perception of someone in stone.
Yeah. Like, you know how I've been like raving on about like living in the gray area. If you put things down as black and white, then obviously there's going to be problems there because the world is not static. Right? And it's the same with like self-development. we could be looking at all these guys saying like, hey, cold showers is the best, meditation is the best, like you should be doing it every day, you should be working like 80 hours a week sort of thing. That's our perception of what an entrepreneur, someone who's good at making money, is. Whereas we tend to disregard find the work-life balance, because there's no concrete thinking about like, what is work-life balance, right? What is working and living a normal life look like? Because you're either like, we kind of celebrate the person who works like 80 hours a week and achieves so much, and not celebrate the person who's actually living a sort of balanced, sort of mellow life, like people who do yoga or hippies and whatnot. We kind of look down on them, right?
A little bit, yeah.
So that's what that got me thinking about like the whole Mike Tyson thing. What are your thoughts?
I mean, it's always weird when somebody somehow reinvents themselves. In either in a good way or in a bad way. It's always weird. It takes a little bit of time to adjust. Like, for example, like a friend of yours, like you haven't seen since high school, for example, they were a nerd or like a whatever back then, and then all of a sudden they're like a cool dude. It's always like, hey, you're in my mind, you're set in stone as this nerd.
Yeah.
But now you're kind of cool. You're kind of like like normal. But that's really not a good mindset to have. That this person is who you thought they were, and they will forever be that person. Like people should be able to change. People should be able to get better or get worse.
Yeah.
That's up to them.
Yeah, well, but the point is like, how do you mitigate that? Like, how do you not think of someone as being the someone that you think of like 10 years ago, for example, right? It's kind of hard. It's food for thought. It's just like a thought I thought about just then, because like recently I've reconnected with one of my friends from the dance days, and she was like one of the top dancers there, and like for me, looking at her, it's like, oh, she's untouchable sort of thing. Like, she's this cool chick who knows how to dance, like has a like cool crew of dancers right now. And she's been at my house in every other Fridays now. We've been talking about business and starting a new one together. So it's just like, what just happened? Because in my mind, I was like this noob in dancing, like doesn't know much about how to communicate with people and whatnot. And then now I'm like, oh, sitting side by side with her, like sharing
your
ideas.
level.
Yeah, we're like sort of
mentally,
level-minded.
yeah.
And we vibe about business and everything. Oh, I'll talk to you about that later too. It's an interesting concept that we're working out together. So
let's call it.
Yes, let's certainly call it. Thank you for listening, guys. By the way, if you're watching this on YouTube, do give us a like. Do give us hit that notification icon, and also subscribe to us, please.
And you can also always find us on social medias: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, if you must. And if you want to support us, always please leave a comment and a like and a subscribe on our YouTube. But you can always help us, money-wise with Patreon.
Yep. And in the comment, guys, let us know what you think about the episode. If you have comments, questions, and thoughts, hit us up. By the way, this whole thing is like been bothering me. The fact that you get some space here. Bye, guys.
See ya. That was so random.